I like the draft, and I like the fact that we're trying to find one common language across the whole school. I'm going to speak from a parent perspective, and I'm going to say that having common assessments and language communicated with teachers will eventually be a great thing for parents, because then I would say we because I'm a parent, but parents generally would have a tool to see and monitor the progress of their children, which is something we lack right now. So I think for the future, this is a great step towards better communication between teachers and parents.
We really enjoyed it. There were some points that we thought were missing as far as the assessment goes. Yes, for the teacher, but also what about for the student self? We'll be able to go back and see what the students think about our lessons and what the students think about their own learning, if they need to go back and review more, and also for us as teachers, if we need to keep reviewing a subject or grammar, then we'll be able to
create a kind of positive communication between the teachers and the students. Concerning the students, they will understand their weak points and that needs improvement, and they will also understand their strength points.
I think it's going to be helpful once we narrow it down and figure out exactly what it says and what it means. I think, like Iman said, there was a lot of work that went into it and a lot of collaboration, and so it shows what the whole school and all the staff think. And kind of, I think once we know what summative assessments are and what they look like, and we have the common language to know, then we have a goal to work towards.
Okay, I really like it. My only thing that I think we could do to improve it is that I think it should be circular rather than linear, because it's an ongoing process. And
the shared assessment draft is really on the right track. We're all moving in the right direction. It's very important to have a shared set of common language that we can all use, so that when students move from grade to grade, that vertical alignment is in place, so that students get to hear us all saying and talking. As the student moves through the grades from grades 1 up through to grade 5, they will be able to understand exactly the expectations and what is set out for them, because everyone is on the same page, and they all should know what the expectations are, because the common language has been used across the board by all faculty.
Okay, the shared assessment definition draft is pretty good. I think when we're talking about assessment, what we're talking about is we're just trying to get everybody on the same page about what, in the case of those definitions, the words flexible and what was the other one? Common. Those are broad and vague terms to be using, especially when you're talking about summative assessment, which really needs to address learning types and demonstrate differentiation towards those learning types.
I think that the draft is a great start to the work that we're trying to do. I think that it's important for us to look at those three aspects more, and for us to define more clearly what we mean in summative assessments. In my group, we specifically talked about what do the words common and flexible mean, and how we might need to define those more clearly in order to have a clearer picture of the direction that we're taking.
Well, we liked it actually as a team. The only thing that we've mentioned is that we need to add a part where it's also assessing teachers, kind of, am I delivering the lesson? Are the kids getting it? Do I need to change my instruction? So we need to add that part. It's not just assessing the kids, but we're assessing the teachers as well. Once you add that part in, then whenever you're planning or you're checking your goal, then you would keep that in mind and say, okay, this is something I need to consider.
I really like the shared assessment draft. I think that the admins did a really good job of synthesizing everybody's ideas, and it seemed really in line with what our department had already come up with for the definitions of assessment.
I think the shared assessment draft that we're working on is good for us as a faculty, because now we're going to have common language that we can talk in our classrooms in terms of our assessments, how we design our assessments, expectations of assessments from department to department. So students will start to see some cohesion amongst our departments, and I think in the long term it'll be a good thing.
I mean, before, that's why the shared definition is to teach the teacher what is the purpose of assessing first. And then, of course, this will benefit the student and the teacher as, I mean, to know, I mean, working as a team, to know what to teach, how to assess. And
Shared
to
assessment
improve
basically helps to have a common platform with the assessments aligned to standards, and it also improves the collaboration and the team effort of the
Shared
department.
assessment definition kind of helps us normalize expectations for both students and staff, and it will help us kind of create more robust, deliverable content across disciplines.
So I have a question about where student responsibility is within our definitions of assessment.
I think I like them. Do you like them?
I like them too.
You know what I like about them is the reasonable part, where
Students get to reading.
well, I think what I understood about reasonable was that you can't just always be giving assessments or give feedback, you know, immediately after an assessment. But there's a reasonable amount of time and a reasonable number of assessments that should take place
Yeah.
over the course of a unit. I think I like that the most.
Hello, I'm really enjoying the current definitions of assessment that we have. One of the pieces I think that we're missing is the idea of assessment of teaching practice as well, and how well, as a teacher, we can reflect on, are we able to convey the message towards the students? So that would be the one piece I would add into, absolutely for sure, but definitely it's a process. It's a journey of getting there. The other challenging piece is that as educators, is there enough time within the curriculum to be able to stop and reteach a lesson or really focus on it after we've given a summative assessment? Just something to think and reflect on.
I think overall that we have a lot of good ideas. As many things, I think coming together, we'll be able to share ideas as we go forward. One question I posed was, it says for formative feedback for improvement, but sometimes with formative assessments, they can get everything right. So if we're only trying to give them feedback for improvement, what kind of feedback would we give a kid who gives everything correct? I like self-assess for summative. I wonder if we could find a way to include that in the formative, you know, when we give them feedback, well, what are things that they noticed about what they saw? Summatives, in my opinion, should always kind of try to be really real life based, so that they understand this is where you could maybe see that in the future. I think it can be hard. Being on the same page is very important for students and teachers. This way they can see our goals, and themselves they can set goals. I know setting goals with teachers is great, but even some kids will start to set their own goals, and they can see this in the future as they keep growing and finding different hobbies to set goals, and just other things in life. So really being goal orientated is a good idea.
I do believe that assessments are a process for students, but it is a process because it entails that the teachers and the students are working together. Teachers and the parents are all in the part of this process.
I thought it was interesting today to look at the assessments, both formative and summative, and their definitions. I thought were very good, except for the fact that I think when we're defining assessments, it's not only for the students to assess themselves, but also the teachers to assess how am I teaching? Did the students understand? So in order to change how you're teaching, you should assess yourself. For the feedback in the formative assessments, that would include conferencing, peer editing, one-on-one work, group work, office hours. So that actually takes a long time for the students to improve. And then for the summative, once again, I think the definition should include teacher assessment as well. Overall, the more you know about assessment and really think about it, the more you're able to implement that into the classroom and become a better teacher and overall students learn more from you when you are actually using formative and summative assessments in the class.